When science leads you to God, don't abandon faith. Because of questions? If it wasn't for the questions, you would never find the answers. If it wasn't for those nights you looked up at the sky and wondered, you would never discover the one who made the stars. If it wasn't for curiosity, you would never seek the truth. If it wasn't for doubt, you would never have deeper faith. I know where you are. You love science. You believe in logic. You respect evidence. You want to understand the world around you. And that is a good thing. That is a precious thing. That is a gift God placed in you. But someone told you that science and faith cannot go together. If you believe in science, you cannot believe in God. Religion is just ancient superstition. The Bible is just Bronze Age fairy tales. They say, if you're intelligent, you cannot believe in God. If you're educated, you must abandon faith. Science has proven religion wrong, and you started to doubt. You look at the Bible, then look at science textbooks, and you ask yourself, which one is right? Which side must I choose? Can I believe in both? Maybe you're in college. Your professor says religion is pre-scientific. Your friends mock people who believe in God, and you feel ashamed to say you're a Christian. Maybe you've watched videos on YouTube, famous atheists explaining why God doesn't exist. They sound very convincing. They use a lot of scientific evidence, and you started to waver. Maybe you've read books by Richard Dawkins, by Sam Harris, by those who call religion a delusion, and you wonder, are they right? Am I believing in something unreal? Am I deceiving myself? I understand. I truly understand. Those questions are not easy. That doubt is not comfortable. The feeling of being torn between two worlds is truly painful. And I want to tell you this. You are not alone. Millions of people are asking the same questions you ask. Millions are doubting just like you. Millions are standing at the same crossroads as you. In fact, the numbers are alarming. In the 1,970 seconds, only 3% of Americans said they had no religion. Today, that number is over 25%. And among those under 30, the number rises to 40%. 40% of young people say they have no faith. And do you know the number one reason? Science and religion contradict each other. That's what they say. That's what they believe. That's why they're leaving. But today, I want to show you something. Something many people don't know. Something no one told you. Something that could completely change your perspective. That science and faith are not enemies. That the greatest scientists in history did not run away from God. They ran to Him. That the deeper you go into science, the more you see traces of the Creator. And this story begins over 2,000 years ago, with a special group of people. They were not farmers. They were not fishermen. They were not ordinary people. They were astronomers, people who studied the sky, people who searched for patterns in the universe. They were the first scientists, and the Bible calls them the wise men, the Magi. They lived in the East, perhaps Persia, perhaps Babylon. Every night, they looked up at the sky. They recorded the movements of the stars. They calculated the orbits of planets. They searched for order, patterns, meaning. They were people who loved science. Like you. They believed in observation. Like you. They respected evidence. Like you. And do you know what happened? Their science did not lead them away from God. Their science led them to God. One night, they saw a strange star, a different star, a special star, and they knew this was a sign. They got up. They packed their bags. They began their journey. Across the desert, over the mountains, hundreds of miles, weeks, perhaps months, to go where? To Bethlehem, to a manger, to kneel before a baby. Who was that baby? It was Jesus, the Word, who created the universe, the one whose glory the heavens declare. The wise men, the first scientists, found God, not despite science, but through science, not although they studied the sky, but because they studied the sky, not despite their search for patterns, but because they searched for patterns. They found the pattern maker, and today, I want to show you what they saw, that the universe is not silent. The universe is speaking. That science does not lead you away from God. Science leads you to Him. That you don't have to choose. You can have both. And that your questions are not enemies of faith. Questions are the path to deeper faith. Come with me, as the wise men followed the star, and you will see what they saw. But before I continue the story of the wise men, I want to tell you this. You are not losing your faith. You are searching for deeper faith. You are not betraying God when you ask questions. You are doing what He wants. Seeking the truth. You are not weak because you doubt. You are maturing. You don't have to choose between science and faith. You can have both. I know that's hard to believe, because you've heard too many times that science and religion are enemies. Because you've seen too many arguments between believers and scientists. Because you've been forced to choose one side or the other. But let me show you a different perspective. Your doubt is not the enemy of faith. Your doubt is the door to deeper faith. Your questions are not sins. Your questions are invitations to discover. Your curiosity is not rebellion. Your curiosity is a gift God gave you. Think about this. Who created your mind? Who gave you the ability to think? Who placed curiosity in your heart? God. He created you with the ability to reason. He created you with the ability to ask questions. He created you with the ability to seek truth. And you think He's angry when you use those abilities. No. He wants you to search. He wants you to discover. He wants you to understand. Because He knows that the more you search, the more you will find Him. That is exactly what happened with the wise men. Let me tell you their story. The wise men lived in the East, perhaps Persia, where Iran is today, perhaps Babylon, where Iraq is today. They belonged to a highly developed culture, a culture that valued knowledge, a culture that studied the heavens. The word Magi in Greek is magoi. It's related to magic, but not sorcery. It means people with special knowledge. They were astronomers, people who observed the stars, people who recorded the movements of planets, people who searched for patterns in the universe. Every night, they looked up at the sky. What did they see? They saw Mars moving in predictable orbits. They saw the moon changing in regular cycles. They saw constellations appearing according to seasons. They saw everything operating according to laws. And they asked themselves, why? Why does the universe have order? Why does everything operate according to laws? Why can we predict the movements of the stars? This is the most important question. And this is the foundation of all science. Think about this. Why can we do science? Because the universe has order. Because the universe has laws. Because the universe is intelligible. If the universe were chaos, if everything happened randomly, without laws, if Mars is here today, there tomorrow, nobody knows why, then no one could do science. Scientists must assume that the universe has order. The universe is intelligible. The universe operates according to laws. Without that assumption, science cannot exist. And here is the wonder. The universe really has order, from the movements of galaxies to the orbits of electrons, from the structure of DNA to the laws of physics. Everything has order. Everything has laws. Everything is intelligible. And the question is, why? Why does the universe have order? There are two answers. The first answer, it's just random. Luck. Chance. The second answer, there is an intelligence that designed it. Which answer is more reasonable? Let me tell you about someone. His name was Eugene Wigner. He was a great physicist. He won the Nobel Prize. He was a colleague of Albert Einstein. He was one of the greatest minds of the 20th century. And he wrote a famous paper. The title of the paper was, "The Unreasonable Effectiveness of Mathematics in the Natural Sciences." Let me explain this. Wigner was a physicist. He studied the physical world. He investigated how the universe works. And what did he discover? That the deeper he went into physics, the more he found mathematics, complex mathematics, sophisticated mathematics, astonishingly beautiful mathematics. Every law of physics can be described by math. Every natural phenomenon follows mathematical formulas. Everything in the universe speaks the language of mathematics. And Wigner asked, why? Why can mathematics, something that exists only in the human mind, accurately describe how the universe works? Why, when I write an equation on paper, does it tell me exactly how a planet moves? Why, when I calculate on a blackboard, can I predict exactly the result of an experiment? This makes no sense. Unless there is an intelligence behind the universe. Wigner, a non-religious person, used the word miracle to describe this. He said that the correspondence between mathematics and the physical world is a miracle we cannot explain, but we can explain it. If we accept that, There is a designer who created the universe. Let me say it another way. Why is there so much math in matter? Unless the one who created matter is a mathematician, why does the universe have so much order? Unless there is an intelligence that arranged it. Why does everything operate according to laws? Unless there is a lawgiver who designed it. This is not blind faith. This is logical reasoning. This is not superstition. This is rationality. When you see a watch, you know there is a watchmaker. When you see a painting, you know there is a painter. When you see a building, you know there is an architect. And when you see the universe, with all its order, laws, and design, you know there is a designer. The Bible said this thousands of years ago. In the beginning was the Word. The word in Greek is logos. Logos means reason. Logos means order. Logos means logic. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. All things were made through him. God thought the universe into being. That's why the universe has order. That's why the universe is intelligible. That's why mathematics can describe the universe. Because behind the universe is an infinite intelligence. The wise men understood this. They looked up at the sky. They saw order. They saw laws. They saw design. And they knew there must be a designer. That's why they followed the star. That's why they crossed the desert. That's why they sought the king of the universe. Science did not lead them away from God. Science led them to his feet. And here is the wonderful thing. Where did modern science originate? Not from atheistic societies. Not from cultures that didn't believe in God. Modern science originated from the Christian universities of Europe. Oxford, Cambridge, Paris, Bologna. Why? Because Christian faith taught two important things. First, God created the universe, so it has order. It is intelligible. Second, the universe is not God, so it can be studied, experimented on. If you think the universe is chaotic, random, you have no reason to study it. If you think the sun is a god, the stars are gods, you won't dare study them. You'll just worship them. But Christian faith taught God created the universe, so it has order. But the universe is not God, so it can be studied. That is the foundation of modern science. And that foundation came from faith. Modern science is the child of Christian faith, not its enemy. And now, I want to invite you to do something. Pause. Breathe. Let your heart be still for a moment. And pray with me. No fancy words needed. No perfect sentences required. No pretending you don't have questions. Just an honest heart. Speak to God. As the wise men spoke to him, with curiosity, with seeking, with a desire to know. Lord, I have many questions. I don't understand everything. I don't know all the answers. Sometimes I doubt. I've heard people say that. You are not real. That faith is just superstition. That science has proven you don't exist. And I'm confused. Lord, I don't know what to believe. I don't know where to go. But today, I choose to look up. As the wise men did, over 2,000 years ago. They looked up at the sky. They saw the stars you created. They saw the order you designed. They saw the beauty you displayed. And they knew you are real. I want to see that too. I want to know that too. I want to believe that too. Please open my eyes, so I can see your traces in the universe. Please open my mind, so I can understand your wisdom in creation. Please open my heart, so I can trust you even when I don't fully understand. Help me not to fear questions, for every question is an opportunity to know you more. Help me not to run from truth, whether truth comes from the Bible, or from a telescope, or from a laboratory, for all truth belongs to you. Help me remember that. You are not afraid of my questions. You are not angry when I search. You don't leave me when I doubt, for you are the one who created my mind. You gave me the ability to think. You placed curiosity in my heart. Help me have faith like the wise men. They followed the star. They crossed the desert. They searched for the truth. And they found you. I want to find you too. Not despite the questions, but through the questions. Not despite science, but through everything you have made. I believe that. The heavens declare your glory. I believe that. The universe is speaking about the one who created it. I believe that. Every law of physics is evidence of your wisdom. Every mathematical formula is your fingerprint. Every star in the sky is a declaration. You are real. Help me see that. Help me believe that. Help me live that. and though I still have many unanswered questions, I choose to trust you. For you are the one who created the universe. You are the one who designed all the laws. You are the Word, the Logos, the infinite intelligence. And if you are great enough to create all this, you are great enough for me to trust. Amen. If that is the prayer of your heart, say Amen. And believe that God has heard. He hears your searching. He sees your longing heart. He knows the questions in your mind. And He is not angry. He is not walking away. He is not turning His back. He is waiting for you, as He waited for the wise men, to lead you to the truth, to show you His glory, to help you find Him, not despite science, but through all He has created. And now, I want to speak to you words from God Himself. Words meant for you, for your questions, for your search. Listen, maybe you've heard this many times. Science and religion are enemies. You cannot believe in science and believe in God. You have to choose one or the other. Professors say so. Textbooks say so. YouTube says so. Social media says so. And you started to believe it's true. But hear this. That is the biggest lie of our age. Science and faith are not enemies. They are allies. Science and faith do not contradict. They complement each other. Think about this. Science asks, how does the universe work? Faith asks, why does the universe exist? Science tells you the laws. Faith tells you the lawgiver. Science describes mechanism. Faith explains meaning. Science says, this is how it works. Faith says, this is why it exists. One gives you knowledge. One gives you purpose. You need both. Just as you need both eyes to see depth. Just as you need both ears to hear direction. Science and faith are two ways of seeing the same reality, not two enemies. The Bible says, the heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of His hands. Psalm 191. The heavens declare. The skies proclaim. The universe is speaking. What is it speaking about? About the one who created it. When an astronomer looks up at the sky, they are reading God's declaration. When a physicist discovers a law of nature, they are discovering God's wisdom. When a biologist studies life, they are studying God's handiwork. Science does not lead you away from God. Science shows you His traces. The Bible also says, for since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, His eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made. Romans 1:20. The invisible things are seen through the visible things. You cannot see God with physical eyes, but you can see Him through what He made, through the universe, through the stars, through the laws of nature, through life, through yourself. Science studies those visible things, and through them, you can see the invisible one. So when someone tells you science and faith contradict, remember, that is a lie. The truth is, science and faith both point to one truth, and that truth is God. Maybe you've heard this too. Religion is a product of the pre-scientific age. Ancient people believed in God because they didn't understand nature. Now we have science. We don't need religion anymore. The new atheists say so. Richard Dawkins says so. Sam Harris says so. They call the Bible Bronze Age mythology. They call faith a delusion. They call religion superstition of the ignorant. And many young people believe them. But hear this. They are wrong. Completely wrong. Let me ask you a question. Where did modern science originate? From atheistic societies? From cultures that didn't believe in God? No. Modern science originated from the Christian universities of Europe. Oxford, founded by the Church. Cambridge, founded by the Church. Paris, founded by the Church. Bologna, founded by the Church. These places were the cradle of modern science. Why? Because Christian faith taught two important things. First, God created the universe. So it has order. It is intelligible. Second, the universe is not God. So it can be studied and experimented on. If you think the universe is chaotic, random, you have no reason to study it. If you think the sun is a god, you won't dare study it. You'll just worship it. But Christian faith taught, God created the universe. So it has order. But the universe is not God. So it can be studied. That is the foundation of modern science. And that foundation came from faith. Modern science is the child of Christian faith, not its enemy. Maybe you think like this. I need evidence. I want to see. If I can't prove it, I won't believe it. That's scientific thinking. And I respect that. But let me ask you, what kind of evidence do you want? Do you want God to appear before you? Do you want God to speak directly to you? Do you want a clear miracle? I understand. But look around you. Evidence is everywhere. Look up at the night sky. Billions of stars. Billions of galaxies. A universe vast beyond imagination. And all of it operates according to laws. All of it has order. All of it can be understood mathematically. Isn't that evidence? Look at your own body. 37 trillion cells. Each cell contains DNA with 3 billion coded characters. A system, more complex than any computer. Your heart beats 100,000 times a day. Your eyes can distinguish 10 million colors. Your brain processes billions of information every second. Isn't that evidence? Think about this question. Why is there something rather than nothing? Why does the universe exist? Why is there matter? Why is there energy? Why is there life? Science can explain how the universe works. But science cannot explain why there is a universe. And the most reasonable answer is, there is a creator who made it all. There is an intelligence behind the design. There is a source for everything that exists. There is a creator. The Bible says, and God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. Genesis 1:3. God spoke, and the universe came into being. God said, and life began. God commanded, and everything operates. That is the origin of everything. You want evidence? Look around you. Look above you. Look at yourself. Evidence is everywhere. Maybe you're afraid. Afraid that if you ask questions, God will be angry. Afraid that if you doubt, your faith will collapse. Afraid that if you investigate, you'll lose everything. I understand that fear. But hear this. God is not afraid of your questions. He is the one who created your mind. He gave you the ability to think. He placed curiosity in your heart. Do you think He's angry when you use those abilities? No. He doesn't want you to believe blindly. He wants you to seek and find. He doesn't want you to close your eyes. He wants you to open your eyes and see Him everywhere. He doesn't want you to be silent. He wants you to ask, and He will answer. The Bible says, "Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened to you." Matthew 7:7. Seek. Knock. That is not a prohibition. That is an invitation. God is saying, seek, I want you to seek. God is saying, ask, I will answer. God is saying, knock, I will open. He is not afraid of your questions. Because He is the truth. And the truth is not afraid of being sought. The Bible also says, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." Jeremiah 2:9-1-3. When you seek with all your heart, you will find Him. Not might find, not maybe find, but will find. That is God's promise. The wise men sought. They looked up at the sky. They asked questions. They followed the star. And they found God, not despite seeking, but through seeking. You can too. Don't fear questions. Questions are not enemies of faith. Questions are the path to deeper faith. Don't fear doubt. Doubt is not the end. Doubt is the beginning of seeking. Seek. Ask questions. Knock on the door. And God will open the door for you. And maybe you're standing here, at the crossroads. Science on one side, faith on the other. And you think you have to choose one. If I believe in science, I cannot believe in God. If I believe in God, I must abandon reason. I cannot have both. But hear this. You don't have to choose. The wise men didn't choose. They used their science to find God. And they weren't the only ones. Isaac Newton, father of modern physics, he invented classical mechanics. He discovered the law of universal gravitation. He developed calculus. And he believed in God. He wrote, "This most beautiful system of the sun, planets, and comets could only proceed from the counsel and dominion of an intelligent and powerful being." Galileo, father of modern astronomy, he improved the telescope. He observed the stars. He supported the heliocentric model. And he believed in God. He wrote, "Mathematics is the language in which God has written the universe." Johannes Kepler, discoverer of planetary motion laws, he laid the foundation for celestial mechanics. And he believed in God. He wrote, "I was merely thinking God's thoughts after Him." Nicolaus Copernicus, proponent of the heliocentric model. He revolutionized astronomy, and he was a Catholic priest. Georges Lemaitre, father of the Big Bang theory. He proposed that the universe had a beginning, and he was a Catholic priest. Francis Collins, the man who decoded the human genome, one of the greatest scientists of our time, and he is a Christian. He wrote, "I find no conflict in being a rigorous scientist, and a person who believes in a God who takes a personal interest in us." The greatest minds in history found no conflict between science and faith, because there is no conflict. Science tells you how the universe works. Faith tells you why the universe exists. Science tells you the mechanism. Faith tells you the meaning. Science tells you the laws. Faith tells you the lawgiver. One is a map, showing you the terrain. One is a compass, showing you direction. You need both to find your way home. So you don't have to choose. Be like the wise men. Be like Newton. Be like Galileo. Be like Kepler. Be like Lemaitre. Be like Francis Collins. Love science. And love God. Seek knowledge. And seek Him. Study the universe. And worship the one who made it. You don't have to choose one. You can have both. So then, to you who are listening, let me summarize what we learned today. From the wise men, the first scientists who found God. They lived in the East. They studied the sky. They searched for patterns in the universe. Every night, they looked up at the stars. They saw order. They saw design. They saw laws. And they knew there must be a designer. Then one night, they saw a strange star, a special star, a guiding star. They got up. They packed their bags. They crossed the desert. They climbed over mountains, hundreds of miles, weeks, perhaps months. To go where? To Bethlehem. To kneel before a baby. To meet the one whose glory the heavens declare. They came to Christ, not despite science. They came to Christ through science. And that is the lesson for you today. Lesson 1. Science and faith are not enemies. They are allies. Science asks how. Faith asks why. You need both for complete understanding. Lesson 2. The universe has order. Because an intelligence designed it. There is so much math in matter. Because the creator of matter is a mathematician. Lesson 3. Questions are not enemies of faith. They are the path to deeper faith. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will open. Lesson 4. You don't have to choose between science and faith. You can have both. The greatest scientists in history loved science and loved God. You can too. And now, I want to declare these words over you. Receive them. Believe them. Let these words sink into your heart. You are not losing your faith. You are searching for deeper faith. You are not betraying God when you ask questions. You are doing what He invites. Seeking the truth. You are not weak because you doubt. You are maturing. You are not alone in your search. The wise men walked this path. Newton walked this path. Galileo walked this path. Millions have walked this path. And they found God. You don't have to choose between mind and heart. You don't have to choose between reason and faith. You don't have to choose between science and God. You can love science and love God. You can seek knowledge and seek Him. You can ask questions and trust Him. Because all truth belongs to God. Truth in the Bible belongs to Him. Truth in the laboratory belongs to Him. Truth in the telescope belongs to Him. Truth in mathematical formulas belongs to Him. He is the Logos. He is the supreme intelligence. He is the source of all truth. And when you seek truth, you are seeking Him. So today, I call you to do what the wise men did. Look up. Look up at the sky. Look up at the stars. Look up at the universe God created. And ask, who made all of this? Look at the order of the universe. Look at the laws of nature. Look at the mathematical beauty of creation. And ask, who designed all of this? Look at your own body. Look at the complexity of life. Look at the thinking ability of your mind. And ask, who created all of this? The answer will lead you to Him. Don't run away from faith because of science. Let science lead you to faith. Don't abandon God because of questions. Let your questions lead you to Him. Don't listen to those who say science and faith contradict. Look at the greatest scientists. They found God. Be like the wise men. They looked up at the sky. They saw traces of God. They followed the star. And they found Him. You can too. And I want to leave you with this promise. If you seek God with all your heart, you will find him. Not might. Not maybe. But will. That is God's promise. Seek, and you will find. The wise men sought, and they found. Newton sought, and he found. Galileo sought, and he found. Millions have sought, and they found. You will find too. If you seek, and when you find him, you will realize that he was there from the beginning, in every star in the sky, in every law of physics, in every mathematical formula, in every cell in your body. He was there, waiting for you, calling you, leading you home. So tonight, when you look up at the sky, remember this. Every star is a declaration of his glory. Every law of physics is evidence of his intelligence. Every mathematical formula is the fingerprint of the great mathematician. The universe is not silent. The universe is speaking. It is speaking about the one who made it. You just need to listen. You just need to look. You just need to seek. And you will find him. As the wise men found him, they followed the star. They crossed the desert. They searched for the truth. And at the end of their journey, they knelt before the Lord. You can too. Look up, look up, look up, and you will see him. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Look up and worship him.